Aloha, my friends, and in today's video, we're going to talk about abilities that empaths have. Now, some people refer to these as types of empaths, but I believe that we actually all have these abilities within us. We just might be more prone to certain ones of them more than others. Uh, so, we're going to break down the six main abilities. There's obviously more than this, but these are the six main abilities that I have experienced in my time as a life coach and in my spiritual journey, as well as what I've learned from other people. So, the first one, and this is kind of sometimes the most common one, but first one is an emotional empath, or is the ability to have emotion. Now, empaths in general, yes, we feel each other people's emotions. We can connect with them. Sometimes we even take that on as ourself. Now, this is a little bit more zoned in on that particular ability, where this is someone that is really good at reading people's emotions, but they are like, they pick up on people's emotions or places emotions or circumstances or events very clearly, and they're about not they're accurate like 90% of the time. But part of this is if you're not trained in zipping yourself up or holding that boundary, then you absorb. And so these are also people that, although they're very good at picking up the emotions that are in general going on and like the tone and the vibration of what's happening, they are also easy to absorb. So it's like more you pick up on emotions of people or places, you can begin to create that barrier between yourself of what is mine, what is someone else's. And that's actually one way to begin to really develop that empathic ability is by asking that question when you go into a place, a store or a building, or when you go to a family event or a friend's event, or when you're driving in your car or after you've watched a show, is asking, the way I'm currently feeling, is that mine or is that someone else's? Did I pick up on some other emotion and begin to reflect it back and cause that emotion to come up within myself? And more often you do that, the more you can draw that boundary. Another thing you can do is you can imagine grabbing a zipper, like a physical zipper at the bottom of your root chakra, and pulling it all the way up, all the way above your crown, kind of like you're wearing one of those hoodies that has like a face on the hood too that zips in front of your face. So you can do that and imagine that zipping you up, and it keeps your energy within and allows you to be more aware when you might see someone's emotions and you're reading the emotions, but you don't absorb them. So this is someone that's very good at seeing or feeling other people's emotions very well. Next one that we have is a physical ability. And what this is isn't like, you have super strength or anything like that, although that'd be cool and that'd be fun. But the part of this is actually you feel the physical energy of a place. So like when you go into a place or you have an event or so forth, you can feel tired from the place or tired from the conversation with somebody. This is somebody that, like, if you have a conversation with a friend and you feel really energized, you're more likely to have it. Like that happens to all of us, but this is somebody that happens to on the more extreme level. This is somebody that like they could go to the gym or to like a crystal shop and not buy anything, not work out, but be charged up by the energy. Um, Someone that's also really good at this, that like has this ability very strongly in them, might be somebody that like when you hang out around them, you get energized up with it. Like they're kind of like somehow they're like a little battery that charges you up really well. Like I have a friend named Brandon who's like this exactly. Like there's been multiple times I've been awake for like 17, 18 hours and I'm like so dead exhausted, and we just did some kind of, big breath work or big kind of transformational retreat, and we're energetically worn out. And then I end up having a conversation with him. And the next thing I know, it's 6 a.m. and the sun's coming up. And I've been fully energized and hyper throughout the entire conversation. So he's someone that has a really good physical energy that like places affect him. But because he is so confident within knowing his own self in a lot of ways, he is the energizer. So that's the difference. Is someone that's not being aware of themselves or maybe looks down on themselves a lot or has low self-esteem will walk into some place and it will actually lower their chi. It will lower the energy within the blood flow. Where somebody that is maybe more confident or also like knows themselves better is the charge upper. So this is something you can look at and be like, do I feel tired after going to places? Do I feel tired after certain family events? When I have conversations with friends, am I tired or energized? And by asking that question, you can identify if this is something you need to work on. And then also ask yourself, do I have self-esteem issues? Do I let the internal judge beat me up more often than not? Am I allowing the inner critic to win? For myself, one thing you can do with like that inner judge, that inner critic, is you can flip it. So the inner judge, anything the inner judge at me ever says, I know is the opposite of what's true. And then the inner critic, I flipped into be a rival. So like a true rival, that like rivals do want you to get stronger, but they're also never going to fully acknowledge you. So it is the face behind that laughs when I fall. It is the face that criticizes. It is the face that like when I mess up, it's haha, or like when I'm working out and I go for that 12th rep and I can't quite get that 12th rep, it makes that joke, but it's also secretly, it's actually proud that I've reached that level. So it's actually what grinds. It's like where how iron sharpens iron, fire sharpens fire kind of idea. So if you can turn the inner critic into a rival and realize they're never going to fully give you the appreciation for what you've accomplished, like they're never going to say they're proud of you, but at the same time, all the attack is because they recognize who you are. They recognize your power. It's kind of that concept of like more haters you get, the more powerful your speech is. You can look at someone like Tony Robbins, who is a billionaire and has tons of followers and is really inspirational, but like he receives death threats on the daily, like, and he takes that as like I must be saying something that's triggering people so deeply. So you can look at it that way with the inner critic. So the third one that we have here is dreams. Now, what I mean by this dreams is this is somebody that is very good at lucid dreaming. It's easy for them to lucid dream. They might even be able to astral project without having to learn too many techniques. This is somebody that can find it really easy to like blast off in a breathwork ceremony, or someone that can transcendental meditate very easily. This is also somebody that's very good at interpreting other people's dreams. Like they're very accurate at that. And then as well as they can dream for other people that they have stewardship over. So this is like if somebody was like a therapist or a psychologist or someone that had a dream about that person, they could interpret that for themselves and maybe give like an opinion or a 2 cents viewpoint to that person, and that would actually mean something to that person. Like it would actually hit home. It wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, like I was running on the beach and like you were there with me and we were being chased by a lobster. And like that means nothing to me. If someone that has this dream and that they'll be able to like interpret the deeper meaning of it and be able to maybe ask the questions that are appropriate for that person, or be like, I had this dream, what do you think? And that person will actually get more out of the dream than the person that was dreaming it. So that's another type of empath, or also like an empathetic ability that you can have and feel into. Now, the next one we have, or the fourth one per se, is intuitive. Now, this is someone that's intuition is very strong. Now, this is somebody that they hear the emotion behind the words, behind the action. So they can actually like feel or hear the emotions that are behind what the person's saying. So somebody might be, someone's like, yeah, I'm feeling fine. The person with this intuitive ability, they actually hear, oh, you're feeling fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Not fine, but a deeper level. Or if somebody, as they're telling their story, they're telling about something that they've gone through, the intuitive person can actually see like the geometry of how that created how they're feeling. So they can actually connect with them in a very much deeper way and maybe ask appropriate questions or help guide them. There's someone that's decently good at advice, and they may not always be someone that wants to be giving advice, but they've found that people come to them. So this is somebody that's like good at being like a therapist or a coach, and could kind of like back up here a little bit. Somebody that's like has that emotional ability that really like connects with people. This is someone that's like a good listener, a good friend. This is someone that's like a good like party organizer because they can kind of feel into what people need. They might be a good host. And then also kind of for like the physical person that is in that zone, like these are people that are actually really good at being like massage therapists or healers or Reiki masters, because they can feel the tiredness from people and actually energize back up that person. So by doing the energy work, by doing the massage, by maybe doing the physical therapy or the rolfing on them, they're actually energizing that person back up, because that person themselves is so grounded and confident in who they are. They have these abilities to charge people up by doing these services for them. Um, you know, Someone that like does with the dream work, that might be someone that could look into mediumship, or someone that might be good at like tarot reading, or also is a good Reiki healer, um, you know, and can connect with people in that well. Or is someone that would be really good at teaching people like breath work or transcendental meditation, or be good at leading people in drum journeys or in sweat lodges. The next one we have is plants. Now, this isn't just somebody that's like a good gardener. This is somebody that has like an extra special green thumb. Like you can give them any plant and it just grows magically. Um, and this is somebody that like they feel at home in nature. So like they enjoy being in nature, or like they get a lot of power out of being in a garden or working in the yard. There's somebody that like when they go to a forest or a jungle or like someplace new, they really connect with the land very well. So this would be someone to be like a great gardener, a great herbalist, great nature hiker, someone that might enjoy taking others in nature. This might be somebody that working an apothecary might be really good, but they have this deeper connection with plants where like they feel the relationship with plants. This is something with a lot of indigenous people are kind of born with this extra respect for the earth, and so they have this connection there. And so, also with that, it's like you might feel called to work with them and build relationships with certain plants. And this is somebody that, not saying that they would be like vegetarian, but they're conscious eaters. They're aware of where things come from. And so then the next one, the final one here that we're going to talk about today is animals. This is somebody that is really connected with animals. This is someone that may even like channel with animals, meaning they can actually communicate with them on some well, or they can communicate with them deeper. This is more than just like when you come home and you can tell your dog's happy to see you, or you can tell your cat doesn't want to be pet, or you tell when your cat can be pet. This is more than just like the average pet lover that loves all animals. That's an aspect of it. This is an aspect of like you respect all animals, you see that they have a purpose, even the ones you may not want to hold. This is one that I feel like myself, I fall into this category a bit, where it's like, certain animals like mice and ferrets and so forth. Like I don't want them crawling on me, but like I respect them and I think that they can be cute in their own right and way. But then other animals I feel deeply connected with, and like there have been animals I've connected with and understood. Um, you know, and there was even a time where at a family event and somebody had they brought their horse and they brought like this little like carriage with them that could pull two people, and they were offering rides up to people, and then like by the time they kind of offered up the ride to us, like I'd been petting this horse and talking with the horse, and I could just kind of tell this horse was kind of tired of doing the same thing. It was tired of taking people down this path and then back up this path, and like it wanted to go home or just be ridden solely. So we declined to ride ride uh, the carriage, just because I could feel that and I could tell this is what this horse wanted. Now, maybe that was all in my head. Maybe I'm crazy, but it felt like a real connection. Or even similar, when we got a cat one time, I could tell that its name was Gypsy, and that was a cat we actually gifted to my mother-in-law. But it's like this connection was there, and so I've always had this connection with my own dogs and other people's dogs. Like I'm the guy that people's are like, oh yeah, this that pit bull doesn't really like people petting him, or that dog doesn't really like people in its face, and then that dog is like in my face, licking my face, or like rubbing up against my leg. So that's kind of like an example. Part of all of this isn't just that like you have one of these. We all have parts of this. We all have abilities that like lean into it, and we might be more in tune with certain aspects of that ourselves. And like other aspects that we could like probably grow and strengthen these as we go along in our day, and so forth. And of course they all have like their traps and their curses. We can get wrapped up in different things, but part of this is you can look at this more of like which areas are you more called to. And so that's part of what I'd ask you. You can journal about this or write down, which ones of these do you feel like is the best? Like maybe rank them 1 through 6. Like 1 is the one you feel the closest to, and 6 is the one you feel the farthest away from. And then you can draw up this kind of this cool design that I'll show you here. You can get on a piece of paper after you've ranked it, these in order, and you can draw this little symbol. You can put them in whatever order you want. For myself, I went through and kind of ranked myself. Put a 1 in your animals, kind of a 2 to plants, and so forth. And so if you rank yourself, you can draw this little symbol, and then you can kind of fill it out like a character game sheet, or like in a way of like seeing where you're at, and then you can think about ways that you could connect with others. Like the things we've talked about as practical ways that you can improve that are things that you can do that. So after you've numbered yourself, 1 through 6, and ranked yourself what you feel is your strongest and your weakest, you can draw this symbol on a piece of paper, the orange hexagon there, and then you can draw a line to each one to create another shape inside of the hexagon, and you can begin to shade it in. And the whole point of this is just to give you a little bit of like an awareness of where you're at, where you stand. You can do it again in a couple months, or like in 6 months, or even to a year, and see where you're at, see if you've improved yourself. Make the commitment to deepen and expand yourself, as well as just bring the awareness to who you are. And yes, this is gamifying it a little bit and making it fun, but that's something to remember, that one way to activate the third eye, which increases our awareness and allows us to connect deeper with ourselves on such more levels, is childlikeness. And imagination and intuition, they're neighbors. They borrow each other's sugar, they hang out on the weekends together. And so to increase your third eye and harmonize it more and step into higher realms and experience life at a greater level, part of that can be childlikeness and gamifying things, because it also helps the logical brain to do things like this. Okay, guys, have a great day. Peace, love. I'm going to throw up another video up here that talks about empaths and spirituality awakenings. Hope you enjoy those, and keep being your awesome, amazing selves.